We have one of the very best freshmen in college basketball set to join us here on the show. Let's welcome in Louisville's Mikel Brown. Mikel, welcome to the show, my man.
Man, thank you for having me.
All right, so I have watched you play, I think, since you were a freshman in high school. I was trying to remember the last time, but we're going to assume that people watching at home today don't necessarily have that exact same context. So I'm going to ask you to kind of take them down memory lane a little bit for me. When you were a freshman in high school, how tall were you?
I was exactly 5'9". 5'9".
So you have grown, are we're going to say 8 inches like in the last 4 years? Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so when I use terms like late bloomer, I just want to articulate like exactly what that means. And the cool thing about watching you play is I feel like every year you either added something new to your game or we saw you in a different context that revealed something else. But the thing to me this summer, it was actually USA basketball. You were getting ready for the FIBA World Cup. I saw like a level of athleticism in you that I hadn't noticed before. So my question is, when did you really feel like your physical tools, your explosiveness were going to new levels?
Man, I'm honestly, going back to like my early days of, playing basketball when I first started. I mean, I've always been fast. Like I was always fast. I was always, explosive, like in terms of just like speed. I think when it really started to change for me when my foot grew from like an 11 and a half to like a 14 within like 4 months. So,
Yeah.
and that was that period in ninth grade. I was 5'9" with a size 14 shoe. So you go look at me, you look at it, my body doesn't fit my feet. Like my feet doesn't fit my body at all. Like,
Right.
so I think, it just came with me, getting control of my body. Right. And just adapting to, the growth spurt and all the inches that I've grown up on like the past a couple of years. And I think now that, being in college and us, constantly lifting every single day and, my body continuing to grow, I'm starting to adapt now. And I think that I'm starting to, it's starting to come back, that speed that I used to have back early on, that explosiveness and especially, jumping high at the rim now. I think I'm just, continuing every single day just to try to figure out my body more and be able to be as explosive as I can. So.
I remember the exact moment. I think it was in June in training camp. You went down the lane and you hammered this lefty dunk. It was a half court possession. It was in traffic. And I was like, whoa, I haven't seen that before. Like I'm used to the threes. I'm used to, the passes with the left hand. But that level of explosiveness was something I had not seen before out of you. What we have seen, Mikel, was like you could always shoot the basketball. You talk about your speed, but you also had a very advanced early skill set. What was that like in terms of when you go through such a big growth spurt? How does the shooting have to adjust? Like when you grew 3 inches, did you all of a sudden have to like rework your mechanics or develop a comfort shooting the basketball? Because when we look back on your game, we're like, hey, he was always skilled, but that's not an easy thing to grow that rapidly and have your body change that rapidly and still maintain that natural skill set with the ball.
Um, I wouldn't say anything mechanically, but early on in those early stages of my early high school basketball career, I used to push the ball a lot, just because I didn't have the physical strength to be able to shoot from a distance without having to push it, and I used to thumb it. I used to thumb the ball a lot. So I think with me growing and my arms getting longer and my hands getting bigger. Just adapting to, having a more fluent shot. Like, as I continue to get stronger throughout every single year and throughout every single season, just adapting to, having to get a good feel, because my hands get big, your hands get bigger. So now you have to adjust. Now it feels like the ball is, technically small in a sense, in your hands. So me and my dad definitely made an emphasis on, not thumbing the ball. Like you're getting stronger, so it should be coming off fluently off your right hand. But that's, like you said, that skill set has always been there.
Yeah.
It's really just, putting the work in and just constantly getting in the gym and just getting solid reps to make sure, your knife is sharpened. That's what I call it. So it was just an everyday process, and I think it's starting to work out. So.
Yeah, I would say so. Now, you mentioned your dad. We have seen him coach you at various stops along the way, and be a mentor for you. But now he's watching in the stands and the rest of the family. How has that dynamic been for you and dad? I know he's been instrumental in your development so far.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always been that supportive system for me, man. Honestly, you could say like various years. He really only coached me my last year in AAU ball as the head coach, and then he was the assistant coach at DME, right? But all those other years, man, he's been supportive, and he's been there through every single step of the way. And he's like I said, he's my biggest fan, but he also is my biggest critic in terms of he's making sure I'm on top of my stuff. We go back and watch film. Hey, you ain't make this read. You should have made that read. Okay, that was a good read right there, but you could have did this, right? He's always critiquing me and just making sure I'm trying to maximize the to full capacity and what I'm capable of. And I think he knows, just because we put so much work in since I first picked up a basketball. So he's always been that supportive system, and he's still here to this day. He'll pop up in practices every now and then. Me and him still get on the court. We still get our work in. He doesn't change, and I think that's what has helped me throughout my development. And also, I want to give a shout out to my brother and my sister and my mom as well. They're a big part of this as well, just because of that supportive system. My mom tries to make every single game, every single home game. Especially it's hard just because my sister, she plays volleyball. My brother is starting to come up in the ranks in basketball as well. He's probably going to play 15s. He's going to play 15U next year on the 3SSB circuit. So. Just to have them in my corner and them being my support system and those people that I can just lean on every single day, man, it takes a toll on me, and I'm very appreciative of it. So.
No doubt. Very cool, man. Very cool. All right. Well, let's talk about this year, because you're averaging 17 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds per game on a Louisville team that's got like legitimate Final Four aspirations here. So my first question is just like, what has this transition been like for you, acclimating to college basketball?
Well, first and foremost, 17, 5, and 3. I mean,
no, switch it.
I feel like I'm not playing.
Turnover. That's a turnover for me. I turned it over.
Hey, honestly, I feel like I'm not even playing my best basketball yet. Especially just because obviously I haven't been shooting it well from the 3-point line, but I mean, I put the work in. I know eventually it's gonna fall, but to go on and to adapt to this type of ball, college basketball is very, very physical. It's very fast. It's very detailed. Coaches been on us and from day one about details. I think that's just the separator, man. It's just me being able to adapt to that physicality and that level of speed out there on the floor. And I think I've adapted to it well, just because that's just how we play in general. We play very, very fast. We get up and down. We want more possessions in the game. And I think, that is going to help me in the long run, just because, I can play in the half court, but I also can play. I can play in the full court. I can play very fast and get the ball up and down. And also, being able to get my teammates involved as well. I think that's been a separator for me. And they've definitely, especially, we're an old team. So I got a lot of teammates that I could definitely lean on and ask questions about, just because they've been through the ranks of the college basketball. Just to be able to have them as my support system, and just to, have them, encouraging me every single day, it goes a long way for me. So.
You mentioned the 3-point shooting, and I think anybody who knows you just expects that that's going to continue to tick up as the season goes on. But what else, as the year goes on, are you looking to improve upon now? You're only 5 weeks into the season. So what else is there for you to show as we move into conference play?
Man, just taking it one day at a time. Honestly, everything I can improve on. I can be better in all aspects. Whether that's cutting down my turnovers, whether that's getting my teammates more involved, whether that's me making shots, or whether that's me playing being better off the ball defensively. It could go hand in hand. I just think the biggest thing is finding a way to win and just taking it a game at a time with this squad, man, and just continuing to get better.
All right, so that's going to lead you to my last question, because listen, as a prospect, everyone knows, like, you hear everyone say, like, don't look at the mock drafts, don't look at the rankings, don't look at any of that stuff. And that's all right, from the guy who does them. You shouldn't look at them, but it's inevitable, right? Somebody's going to hit you with a text or whatever. So my question is, like, how do you balance working for your individual goals, both in the short and long term, and trying to quarterback this team that does have legitimate Final Four aspirations?
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, it's all about winning. It's all about winning for me, and that's how it's always been, especially from day one, man. The main thing we want to do is just win at all costs. Whether that's you scoring 30, or whether that's you getting four points and 5 assists. As long as make an impact on the game, I think everything else is going to take care of itself. So that's what I would say about that question, man, is, as long as you're winning, everything else will take care of itself. All the accolades will come behind it. But I'm staying focused right now on just, leading this team to winning ball games.
All right. Well, you are doing a heck of a job. Louisville is 8-1. We know you've got Memphis and then Tennessee on the horizon before league play. You're getting ready for that. So we appreciate you taking some time for us here on the CBS Sports Network. Mikel, it's been awesome to watch you play over the years. It's been great to watch you literally continue to improve with each passing year. Wish you nothing but the best throughout the rest of the season here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. That is Mikel Brown. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come right back on the CBS Sports Network and talk about some of the other surprise freshmen early in the college basketball season.